I want to talk about the idea of nightmares, right? Just by pronouncing that word nightmares, it's like I'm seeing some hellish creatures waiting for me to close my eyes, fall asleep, so that they can torment me. Well, I used to have a lot of nightmares. Not a lot, but somewhat frequent, okay, when I was way younger. And what I noticed after studying them, because I love to study them, is that there may not be such thing as a nightmare. There are dreams where we dream things, objects, places, people, creatures that scare us, right? They look scary, they attack us. I don't think I've ever been killed or eaten by any being in my dreams. I mean, there were lions chasing me, there were tigers chasing me, there were monsters chasing me, but none of them ever did anything to me. Sometimes I run away towards them. So I've concluded for now that nightmares, the word nightmare may just be a very subjective notion. Let's say somebody is afraid of heights and they have a dream about being at a very high place, and they get scared and they wake up shivering and they say, man, I had a nightmare. But that was just a dream about them being, on top of a building or somewhere where there was somewhere very high. It wasn't necessarily a nightmare. What if that person eventually overcomes the fear of heights, and then when that dream comes back, or similar dreams come back, they're no longer afraid? Well, was it a nightmare from the first time? Or was it just a dream which may or may not have specific meaning, which may or may not have reflected something back to them to work on, but it was just a dream, right? Messages and all that. It wasn't necessarily a nightmare. The label of nightmare was put on the dream because the dream reflected something that the person who dreamt would find scary, right? Some people hate spiders. They're afraid of spiders. Why? I don't know, but they have that. Arachnophobia, I think it's called, right? Imagine when they dream spiders. That's a full-blown, hardcore nightmare over there. When I dream spiders, I don't have nightmares. When you dream spiders, you probably don't have nightmares. So that's not a nightmare. It's just some dreams may reflect back to us suppressed feelings, suppressed emotions, suppressed fears, feelings as well, same thing. And if we haven't addressed them, we would be scared of them, right? We would say, oh, what a nightmare, what a nightmare. But I realize the more I study myself and the more I study my dreams, also record them from time to time by recording them audio, vocal recordings, I realized that the nightmares just started to dissipate, less and less frequent. I don't remember last time I had a nightmare. In the past year, maybe it happened once. I think it was something where there was something scary and I decided to opt out of the dream, and I opened my eyes, but I wasn't out of the dream because I didn't open my eyes. I dreamt that I opened my eyes and I was in another dream while still being connected to the other dream, and the fear factor was still there, but it didn't. I mean, if a straight line is perfect balance, a line like this is terrible fear. I was just like, a small tick. So I wouldn't qualify it as a real fear. But anyway, so the more the more I study myself, the more you can study yourself, the more you may realize that there is no such thing as nightmares. And they're just opportunities to learn, to look into yourself, to have self-reflection. And you can become a friend of those nightmares and see them as learning experiences. What I used to do was to challenge them. When there's something after me in my dreams, I would just challenge it. Come on, give me what you got, show me. Like I said, I was never eaten by anything. I was never devoured. Nobody really hurt me in my dreams. Can you believe that? So many nightmares, nobody hurt me once in my dreams. Nothing hurt me once in my dreams, and I still call them nightmares. But what may qualify as a potential nightmare for the non-initiated are out-of-body experiences. So you go to sleep, you wake up, and you realize you're floating in your room outside your body, and you see your body sleeping. And then you might get scared, thinking you're dead, that's it, you're gone forever. Your body will start rotting away and you're dead. But you're not dead. That's called an astral projection, out-of-body experience. And it's amazing, and you can study it, improve it, work with it. I mean, instead of being afraid of having out-of-body experiences, I think you should be feeling blessed, because they're amazing. You can also induce them, by the way, but that's a different topic. Another way that dreams can become scary, although this is more than dreams, is when we have sleep paralysis. I think you probably know this one. So sleep paralysis is basically when you wake up, but you're completely paralyzed. You cannot move your body. The only thing you can move is your eyes, and well, of course, your breathing, that goes automatically, but you cannot move anything. And you're scared for a few seconds, right? Because your body still thinks you're sleeping and you should be temporarily paralyzed. So if you dream that you're running, you're not going to run in your house. So there is a purpose for temporary paralysis during sleep. But sometimes you wake up and your body doesn't know you woke up and you're still paralyzed. Only for a brief second, a few seconds, a brief moment. And that can be scary. Yes, I agree. But it still doesn't qualify as a nightmare. And there is nothing to fear. How about that? When you're in that state, what I noticed is sometimes I see figures, at one point that's awesome. I'm talking about nightmares, walking alone in the woods. That's awesome. Sometimes I found myself experiencing sleep paralysis, and when I opened my eyes, or I thought I opened my eyes, sometimes I don't even know which one is real anymore. I saw a figure standing by my bed next to my head and holding my head with his hands or its hands. It felt like a male figure and energy, but I could be wrong. It had a veil on his head and the face was dark. There was nothing there. I couldn't see it. And he was singing like a shamanic song. I don't even know how to perceive it or to explain it. But he was singing something, and I remember I had my own music playing in the background, because when I sleep, more often than not, I would leave some relaxing music in the background. And I would know, during that time, I didn't no longer hear that music. I only heard his music, because I don't think it was a song. I think it was some sort of instruments. There were maybe some drums or something. And I got scared for a second. But then I said, awesome, awesome, what an awesome opportunity to explore while I'm experiencing sleep paralysis and there's this dark entity holding my head. This is an awesome experience. So what I did was I tried to reach him. I keep saying him, but again, I don't know if he had any gender, whatever. It felt like a masculine energy, but I could be wrong. I tried to reach him with my hand, but what I realized is, as I was lifting my hand to reach him, it was not my real hand. I was paralyzed. It was more like a non-physical hand, a projection of my hand. So obviously I couldn't do anything. I couldn't grab him, I couldn't touch him, I think I wanted to see his face and I got denied. So when this happens, I have two options. In this case, I struggle as a challenge to see if I can break the sleep paralysis. The answer is yes, you can, but it takes tremendous effort. Tremendous physical and mental effort. So you might as well just relax. Just when it's the scariest part, you just relax and nothing bad will ever happen to you. There is no such thing as some non-physical being coming into your room and doing damage to you. What damage? Have you ever seen a person with his leg or her leg chopped off because a non-physical being came into their room at night and chopped off their leg? No. Bruised them, cut them? No. Some of the beings that we find ourselves in contact with, I don't know how. Sometimes we want them to contact us, sometimes we just open, sometimes we're lucky, I don't know. They're not bad. They look scary, of course, because we have so many belief systems that filter our view of life. So we think this is normal, this is scary, but it doesn't have to be scary. And I've tried, I feel blessed when I have a so-called nightmare because that's an opportunity to explore and learn from it and challenge it. I feel blessed when I have an opportunity to experience out of body. I feel blessed when I have an opportunity to experience sleep paralysis and see beings in my room that work on my body, that speak to me, that sometimes they were doing something. It's like they were putting an oil on my body. I don't know what it was. Well, when I woke up, there was no oil, but I'm just saying. So it seems that some beings, benevolent beings, help us in different ways, and we're just scared of them. I'm so excited about that. I wish that would happen every day, every night, every second. Or I would be conscious that it's happening, because maybe it is happening and I don't know it. One idea that I studied and learned about it is that sometimes when we switch our energy, right? We increase our vibration. Then there might be beings that come along to help us with that transition, to help our body cope with the spiritual enlightenment and amplification of our vibration. And we would be scared of them, of course, but we don't have to. Again, I'm challenging you. Do you know of any case when some human being suffered physical damage to their body, which was inflicted exclusively 100% by non-physical beings that came into their room at night as they were sleeping? No, I don't think so. Yeah, there's the idea of ghosts as well. Of course it could be scary. Imagine you're going by yourself at night into an empty mansion and you know, you hear all kinds of sounds, and then you see you hear the voice of a child, then there is no child but there is a ghost, right? Of course that can be scary, but what can it do to you? What can it do to you? I want to know. It's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking, what can it do to you? Nothing. That's the answer. Absolutely nothing. Except scare you. But you scare yourself. Well, I'm not playing, you know, the hero here. If I would be in that mansion at night and it was a haunted house and I would hear, you know, noises and I would see a ghost, I would be afraid for maybe a few seconds, and then I would chase it. Come on, I want to see you. Who are you? What are you? Are you here to harm me? Okay, how are you going to harm my physical body with your non-physical energy dust? Well, let's challenge. Let's challenge. Use anger to gain courage, to overcome fear. Come on, it can be done. So I don't believe nightmares exist. That's my idea. Anything we see as nightmare, we can transform and learn from, and eventually realize it wasn't a nightmare after all. So I could be wrong. I often am. But I don't think I'm wrong this time. But I'm looking forward for any feedback and ideas. Good night.